Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Maxwell Egan. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been away for a couple of weeks, so we've had poor Frank having to play reruns, and I just haven't been able to take any phone calls. This show today is also actually pre-recorded because I have to go away for an event this weekend, and so unfortunately I won't be able to take any more phone calls for this show as well. But I will be back live on air next week, and I'll be looking forward to talking to you then because I do enjoy your phone calls. So please don't think that I'm ignoring you. It's just what life has been for me at the moment. Well, Malcolm X once said, "You are not to be so blind with patriotism that you can't face reality. Wrong is wrong, no matter what it does or what it says." And that's a very good quote, and I think people should pay attention to that, especially when listening to the rhetoric that's being sprouted by Mr. Obama recently. Obama seems to be traveling around the world promoting globalism and world fascism in a very blatant sort of a way, and hiding it cleverly with rhetoric. A lot of people seem to think about that he's talking about world peace, but I just can't see it that way myself. It just seems to be more and more rhetoric, more and more globalism. I heard him saying in a speech in Prague yesterday, what I watched on the internet. I'm not sure when the speech took place, but I saw it yesterday, where he said that what we need is a global regime, and I found that a little bit blatant. We've of course seen the open announcement of the New World Order at the G20 summit in England, which was also pretty blatant, I thought. Very interesting, some of the things they did over there. I thought it was particularly novel the way they corralled the crowds and sort of directed them down one-way streets that they couldn't get out of, and then sort of kept them locked in there for hours and hours on end and wouldn't let any of them go home at the end of the day. And then when people started getting a little bit perturbed about it and tried to break past the police barrier simply so they could leave the area and go home, the police said that they were starting to riot, and of course the batons came out. Very clever the way they planned their little riots, the police. But of course, as we know, all of the riots are caused by the police. It's always the way, folks. I find it difficult to understand how people can't see straight through the situation and see straight through what these people are doing. I also thought the work brigades that Obama has included in Bill H.R. 1388, where he said that anyone who isn't working or who questions the government in times of crisis should be jailed. I found that quite a novel sort of Hitlerian approach to America. I've been surprised at how blatant things have been getting, actually. Of course, we've also seen people being arrested simply for carrying cash on them, as if it's illegal to carry any large amounts of money on you anymore. They expect people to use credit cards, and if you are carrying a large amount of money, well, of course, you must have been up to some illegal activity. Very novel sort of a mindset from the police there. Something else that I've seen in England, we've had people, train spotters, people who just hang on bridges and like to photograph trains like they've been doing for many, many years. We found that these sort of people are being harassed under Section 44 of the Anti-Terrorism Act in England, so that it seems that people aren't permitted to carry cameras anywhere or do any of the normal photographing or anything that they've been doing for years, because if they do things like that, well, they might be a terrorist. Sounds like the police are terrorising these people to me, and which of course makes you question who the terrorists actually are. Of course, as we all know, the terrorists are the police and our governments, the ones who are allowing this corrupt world situation to continue and indeed to escalate. So we need to really look at the reality of it all. But Obama, he seems to be on a roll. It's pretty obvious that he's just sort of travelling around the world, much like Al Gore did actually with global warming. Al Gore sort of travelled around the world and promoted global warming, and his job seemed to be to sell it to the public, even though it was completely based on flawed science. And it seems that Obama is out at the moment to travel around the world and basically sell globalism to the public under the guise of world peace. But of course his logic is also completely flawed, and it's pretty obvious that he's working for the same the same international bankster elite that his predecessor, George Bush, was working for. Very, very thinly disguised. I'm surprised how thinly disguised it is and how many people are falling for it. People honestly seem brainwashed by the colour of this man's skin, like as if he's actually going to do the right thing. I find it remarkable that people can't see politics for the theatre that it actually is. But you get that, I suppose. That's just the way the world goes with the TV-educated people that are out there going to these meetings, I suppose, because, of course, most of them do have a television education. Very few of them understand what actually goes on in the world, unless the TV tells them that's what's going on, and that's basically all they understand. So most of them get their news from the 6 corporations that own the national media or the international media. Actually, I think that might be down to 4 corporations now. I'd have to check that though. But it seems like the stranglehold is getting tighter and tighter when it comes to where our information comes from. Something I'd like to mention to you here as well is I have a new film out which has been posted on thecrowhouse.com, my website. It's also available on YouTube. It's a film called The Calling, and it is a rehash of some old material, but there was a reason for me doing that. What happened was I was actually approached by some people to make a more concise version of the big picture, Fight the New World Order with Global Non-Compliance and New World Order, The Final Solution. So I was asked to kind of remake them all into a 1-hour feature, which is sort of a little bit tricky because I was condensing 3.5 hours worth of information down into 1 hour in the hope that it would be more widely appealing to people. So I've taken a lot of the Planet X stuff out of there. I mean, I only actually put the Planet X information into the big picture because there are so many people on the internet that were worrying about Planet X, so I thought it was relevant to include it. But the new film actually goes for 1 hour long. It's quite concise. I think it will probably wake up even the most asleep person. So I hope that you do view that. It's available for download from the website. It's about a 700 meg file to download, so it's a little bit weighty, but that's what you get for a 1 hour film. It's got some new information in there as well. It concentrates a little bit more on Codex Alimentarius. It does provide a little bit more of a solution-based ending. I've had some very, very good responses from it. The reason this show is being pre-recorded actually is because I have to go down to a music festival in Byron Bay this weekend. I've been given a ticket. I'm actually going to go there to promote the film. I'm going there to also promote The Great Intention, which is happening this weekend. I hope you're all on board for that. And I have a couple of radio interviews to do down there and a few things like that. So that's what's going on. The film has been very well received. There's a person in Byron Bay who has actually taken it upon themselves to print and distribute the new film, which will be distributed around the music festival over the Easter weekend. So that's a very, very good thing. I'm glad that people have taken the film seriously and are helping to promote it in any way that they can. It really, really has had some good responses. I've had about 3,500 views in the first 3 days that it's been on YouTube. So it's very good that people are doing that. And I thank you all. I thank you all very much. Those of you who donate to the Crow House, it could not have been made and it could not have been done, and indeed the website would not still be open were it not for your donations and for your help. A lot of people have also been saying to me, look, you should be selling these films. People aren't going to take you seriously unless you sell the films. But I have a little bit of difficulty in dealing with that mentality. I truly believe that the information that I'm putting out on the Crow House is important information. I do it simply because I care about humanity. I want people to have this information, and I don't do it in order to make money. I don't want to have money impede the flow of the information. I think that it's important that everybody get the information and that they be able to get it free. So that's why I don't charge anybody for anything that's on the Crow House. I've always believed that if the information that I'm putting out there is worthwhile, then I put it out into the field and the field will look after me and people will donate and people will keep the information flowing as much as I have done. And that seems to be happening. People are helping me distribute this information. Please understand that any money you do donate to the Crow House goes immediately back into getting information out to people. I don't use it for any other purpose. That's pretty well what my whole life surrounds around at the moment. It's all about getting information to people. I think the situation we are facing is quite an urgent one, but I believe it can be easily rectified if people simply wake up to the reality of the situation and start taking matters into their own hands, start understanding the power that they have to change things on a personal level. Because ultimately, the whole battle does lie within, folks. I keep saying that. It's a battle of energy. And when I say it's a battle of energy, it's a battle of emotional energy as much as anything else. It's where you have yourself centered, whether you are centered in a state of fear and that you don't want to stand up and address any of these issues and you're scared of having people point the finger at you, or whether you're centered in a state of love and you will choose to stand up for these issues and to alert people around you of what the real issues that our world is facing are.